So let's take a closer look at these paradoxes. And again, we're going to be following this throughout the course, talking about these two juxtaposing sides of war. We're going to begin by looking that the very nature of war is paradoxical, that the very process that goes on in war represents something of a social paradox. And I'll just consider a couple of them here. First of all, war brings out the very best in us and the worst in us. Let's just start with the very best. Notice this image. This is an American ace pilot, and his smile and he's obviously a heroic figure. This is the American youth, the American young men actually triumphing against the evil of the enemy. This is the very best that we can be. This is whom we wish to honor, and this is whom we wish to celebrate. But war can also be about the very worst. We don't know this American soldiers' transgression, but war is about leading to this killing of others. War is about the imposition of this kind of violence, even with the sort of formality that we see here with this officer preparing this soldier. War is about the very best in a sense, but war can also be a moment when individuals fail, when individuals do not do their best, but actually might do their worst. I talked before about war being productive. Think about the kinds of economic consequences that we see from war, particularly from the point of view of the United States. It's impossible to make sense of the late 19th century American economy without the Civil War. It's certainly impossible to imagine the American economy after 1945 without that incredible boost of production that is associated with war. But of course, war is also incredibly destructive. War is about taking all those machines that one has built and destroying them, and trying to destroy as many human beings and as many human lives as possible. We know that war is based on conflict. The whole notion of war is about one side wanting to kill the other. War is about imposition of violence against another. You have to have this disagreement in order to have war. These men who are walking across no man's land, this man here with probably a mortal wound to his neck, they're in conflict with some unseen enemy to whom they wish to kill. But war is also about cooperation. War is also about civilization. War is, in a sense, about building up a group. War is clearly savage. It brings out the very worst in people, and it's chaotic. But war can also be orderly. War is about the imposition of some sort of collective identity on a group. These American soldiers marching through Paris in 1944, you can see that, yes, they have gone through this conflict, they have gone through scenes like this, but now they're expressing their victory, they're expressing their common identity, and you can see the kind of order that has been imposed upon it. War is also something very common. That is, that war is something that pervades human history. Yet, actually, relatively few people experience it, particularly in the 21st century, particularly in the wealthy parts of the world. And I'm fascinated by this, how war pervades our literature, war pervades our politics, war pervades our history, and yet, if you look at, even during massive struggles, the number of people who are actually involved is relatively small. So here's a juxtaposition of war. War is obviously involving the whole of society, but it's also felt and experienced by a very particular group of warriors. And we're going to see that in 21st century United States, this is a really important distinction. War is traditional. War is one of the most traditional and obvious things. We can see this photograph, and the uniforms will change, the flag will change, but this could be a scene from Greeks marching in the 5th century BC. So war has these traditional iconographies that we recognize. Yet war can also be strange and alien. Look at the expression on this young man's face, that sense of being faced by something incomprehensible, the look of sheer terror and horror on his face. So at the same time that it is this very common thing, that it is very much part of our culture, it's actually something that when people confront it, they're astounded by it and they're horrified by it.